Okay, middle C, high C, and double C buzz. And that's the ultimate test in pure embouchure and lip strength. Notice I was doing the real lip buzz. I wasn't doing the little puff out your thing that 8th graders do. No, I was doing the real lip buzz with an embouchure set, my lips rolled in, like I'm blowing into the horn. So make sure you're comparing apples to apples. What I did was the real lip buzz, free lip buzzing, like you got your embouchure set. So if you do this, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about real free lip buzzing, which requires an enormous amount of embouchure strength. And you can always just about count on the fact that if you can buzz a certain note, it's likely you can play about an octave higher than that. Buzz a high C, you can probably play double C. Buzz a middle C, you can probably play high C. Buzz a double C, like I just did, you can probably play a triple C, which is true. So there is a correlation between your lip buzz and your strength and what you do on the trumpet, what you do on any other brasses. It doesn't really matter, tuba, trombone, whatever. So embouchure strength is the most important thing, the most important aspect of brass playing. Take it away and you really have little left. Little left. You might as well just become a singer. I mean, you really do. If you don't have the embouchure strength, you can't play. I don't know. Maybe you can play in the low register, and that's about all you're going to get. If you absolutely have no strength here whatsoever, nothing really is going to happen on the horn. You could be Olympic swimmer with great lungs and air, no embouchure strength, and it's going nowhere. So there you have it. And we'll continue on with this brass improvement series right here. Hey, today we're going to be talking about chop strength or embouchure strength versus air. And it seems like every other day I'm getting an email from somebody with a counterpoint of view for myself about air. A lot of times you hear me say air is not the main thing that's going to get you your range, and it's not the only thing. And then people think that I don't believe in air at all, and that's not true. But we really need to figure things out. Now I love Don Jacoby and his stuff. Bill Adams is wonderful. In fact, I do a little bit of his stuff in my 4-month upper register program, the lead pipe buzzing and stuff like that. So, and then the other yoga breathing techniques. But air, my friend, if you work only on air and think that's the holy grail to ultimate endurance and upper register, you're going to fail. That's just the bottom line. And we're going to find out why today. In fact, I'm going to prove that air is not the holy grail to upper register. It really is lip and embouchure strength. And then the second to that would be how you compress your air. So that is a very important part of being in upper register and playing that way, playing clearly in the upper register. So, and I'm not following a script here, I'm just thinking out loud, but you need to see a good up-close demonstration. That's why I have this camera so close. I want you to notice how much air I'm really taking in to be able to get in the upper register. And if you have half a brain, you're going to figure things out that you got to have the chop strength. You got to have the lip strength. Lip strength is a little different than your embouchure, than the muscles that surround here. Don't believe me? Watch some autopsies. It's pretty gruesome, but you're going to see that the musculature of the face right through here, our embouchure, actually is different tissue than what you have right here. And so this is a little something different here that we want to work on to get stronger. You have to have lip strength to withstand the pressure of the air coming out. So yes, you do need to be able to have great air flow and to be able to really compress the air. That's the most important part. So even if you only had one lung, if you had the mechanism set up to really compress that air and everything was synced and coordinated, I'm sure that you could probably still play decently in the upper register and expand your range. I'm confident of that. And let's find out why that is. So I'm going to put the mouthpiece up. First of all, I'm going to see if you can get the feeling of when I take a full breath. So here's a full breath. Okay, so you'll know when I'm taking a full breath. I'm sitting down, so you'll see that I have to do that. Now, if I take a partial breath, I'm not going to take a full breath. By the way, this video's in lieu of me writing out a big email for my brass techniques improvement series. I'm just basically it's going to be this video, so you're not going to see a long email. This is the next installment in the brass players improvement email series I do on Facebook. So just be watching this and take notes. So check this out, and I'm going to try to make it clear when I do take a larger breath. So you need to see my lips. Try to get it close. I'm putting the mouthpiece up. I'm going to take about 20% air. Here we go. That's it. That's only 20%, folks. Now, I didn't exactly have the accuracy that I wanted because I didn't have the airstream pushing it forward. But that's pure embouchure strength. Let's do it again. I'm going to take about the same amount of air, about 20%. Here we go. It's only 20. I think I got up maybe around the triple F range, give or take. Wasn't a lot of air there. Now, I will put in a lot more air. So let me take in double that. Let's go up to about 50%. That's about 50. So I'm getting more sound out, and the air that I'm blowing through my chops is more air, more quantity, and it's actually probably a little bit faster, of course. Now, because I'm blowing more air, that's activating all the muscle contraction here. It's got to still stay sealed on the mouthpiece, otherwise the lips would fly out and you're not going to be able to go up any higher. So anyway, that should be really clear. Let's just take another look at that. Not much air. So here we go. That's a big breath, and let me let it all out. Basically, you saw me playing a double G, that's a double concert F, on the trumpet with virtually no air. Did anybody check that out? I basically had hardly any air. And how loud was it? It came out about MF. So wait a minute. Now, let's go back to Don Jacoby, and we can even include Stamps and some of these other guys, Bill Adams, real big proponents. Even my hero, Bud Brisbois, real big proponent of his wedge breath. He was the original wedge breath guy. Shu came after him. Bud Brisbois is the originator of wedge breath breathing, in case you guys didn't know that. And there's actually two versions. The Shu version, Bobby Shu's, is a little bit different, more applicable to like real-time playing. But Bud Brisbois basically said his way of breathing, this wedge breath, was the reason he could play so high. And tell you the truth, I don't believe that's true. The guy had incredible chops, and I'm pretty confident that even if he hadn't only one lung or wasn't breathing quite as good as he did in the wedge breath that he originated, he could still play very, very well in the upper register. He had a natural setup, and so I think he was trying to explain why he could play so well. Sometimes when players are born with natural leverage and a natural ability to really compress air, they're not quite exactly sure what they're doing. So they look to rationalize how they're able to do it. You can watch Maynard, one of the ultimate talent in upper register. Just look at his face. He had a natural setup. His teeth and everything was just perfect for being able to get the high velocity out to play in the upper register. Now, of course, he had to work. He had to practice, not shortchanging that. But I think at some point he was trying to figure out how he was actually doing it. He had just this ultimate talent. I mean, he had the perfect leverage just built into a system that a lot of us have to work a lot harder to get. And sometimes we don't even get to that level. So you can watch in some of his master classes that he really explains about that he worked a lot on his breathing, and then he leans back. He's really big about bending knees and leaning back. And I'm going to tell you something. And Maynard is also one of my heroes, just along with Bud. But they're trying to explain how they're able to play so easily and well the upper register when, in fact, they had just like the ultimate amount of talent to be able to do so in natural setup. I'm confident that you can take in a big gulp of air and practice yoga, lean back, bend your knees, and you're not going to be sounding like Maynard. And you're not going to really get that much upper register. You're going to have to do something to strengthen this area up here in your face. You have to have the strength up here. There's just no question. And what do a lot of people tell you to do? Do long tones, take stuff up an octave, play in the upper register, and really work on your airflow, and you'll get there. Nope, it doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. Now, it might for some people who are already predisposed and have the natural great leverage in their face right here, their tongue. Maybe they got a small. If you have a smaller oral cavity and you're using your tongue arch, you really can speed up there a lot faster. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that really go into this to making natural leverage. So yes, the people that have gained a lot of range and can excel very well in the upper and extreme upper register of any brass instrument, if they did the long tones, if they really worked on their breathing, if they played stuff up an octave, they might actually just get to where they wanted it to be, where everybody wants to be, but mainly because they had already a predisposition for natural leverage and a great compression ability just through their genetics. So the rest of us, you're going to have to really be strategic about getting this strength. And unfortunately, for most of us, not one method and not one technique is going to get you there. In other words, you can't just do Bill Adams' method and get there. It's going to work for some people, but will it work for you or me? I don't know. Claude Gordon, love it. And I actually got something out of it, but is it going to work for you? I've been teaching for a long time, and that Claude Gordon doesn't work for everybody. It works for me, and not ultimately, but it did help me out at one point. So I love the Claude Gordon stuff. Roy Stevens, so palming and all that kind of stuff. Will it work for you? It may, and it may not. Reinhardt, all these other methods that are out there. Cat Anderson is probably the toughest method to actually go through. So there's a whole bunch out there. The only question is, will it work for you? And those methods are successful for some people, but not for everybody. Of course, we already know why it's not successful for everybody. It's just fact. If one method was actually successful at producing gorgeous high notes and upper register abilities and endurance, then we would all only use that one method. Think about it. Let's use our brain here. If one method was that successful, you wouldn't be listening to this right now, and I wouldn't be talking about it. Everybody could just do it. So the fact of the matter is, not one method is perfect for everybody. As a result, that's the whole nature of my 4-month upper register course. There's 65 techniques, and these techniques come from every method you can think of. The bulk of it are actually my techniques, and I include a lot of breathing for compression and some other stuff. So you have to take the macro approach to really building the strength. We don't know which particular technique is going to do it for you. I'm confident that out of 65, 5 or 10 are definitely going to be the magic bullet for you. But what's the magic bullet for you? Don't know. And whatever it is, it won't be the same for me or the same for the next guy or gal. So you really have to use your intelligence here if you want to improve your upper register. And keep in mind, I don't care what instrument you play. I don't care if you're a college professor or you're a comeback player or you're a hobbyist or you're a pro player, whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you have to keep improving your range. You can't be subtle on your range, wherever it is at today, because the more range you have, what happens? Even if you don't want to play double C's, classical guys out there, if you can play a double C, what happens here? Boom. The pressure comes off your lips when you're playing in the tessitura that you normally play in, whether it's middle C up to maybe E's. So you don't have to have the desire to play double C's. It's just if you can play them in your practice, the pressure comes off here. You get a better sound, a bigger sound, and a lot more endurance. So let's take one more look, and then I'm going to wrap it up here. Really, the air is important. And to compress the air, you really have to arch the tongue in your mouth up, like you're saying N or E or T. Your tongue's actually like this. That it's doing the arch. Like that. And you're blowing the air from the back of your throat up and over the tongue, and it comes out the aperture. Now that's great. We got to have that air. But if you don't have the super strong embouchure chops and the lip able to contract and hold that air into the mouthpiece, all the air is just going to be useless for you. And that's this brass improvement email series. Hope you get a lot out of it. You're seeing a real good close-up of me, maybe too close. Let's take another look at the mouthpiece. So I'm putting the mouthpiece right on my chops and take a small amount of air. Okay? Not a whole lot of pressure there, really. And that was probably about 30% of my air capacity. That should prove a point. It should really prove a point that, yes, work on your air, but you need to focus a lot more on how to get this going here. And let me just leave you with this. If you're pounding away and banging your head at one method, and you keep wondering why it doesn't work, but you know it should work because it works for everybody else, well, that's erroneous thinking right there. You really need to take the shotgun approach. I'm here to tell you, you got to take the shotgun approach, the macro point of view, when it comes to really increasing your strength in your face, your lips, and everything else. You just got to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be one of those guys that sticks with a method because you don't want to, I guess, admit that you've made the wrong decision. You'll stick with that method for all your life, and you'll always have problems in the upper register. So, use your intelligence. Think about things in an intelligent way. And I'm Kurt Thompson. Hope this made a little sense to you. And today's date, by the way, happens to be March 7th, 2013. Take care.